2008 was devastated by an explosion resulting from a bulldozer that struck and ignited an oil pipeline, killing scores of people. 11 years after, residents of Olusegun woke up to another disaster. Those who thought they were having a bad dream never lived to tell the story, as the fire consumed them following another explosion, resulting from oil bunkering. Latest statistics by the Lagos State government indicate that 10 victims have died due to high degree of burns suffered from the inferno. On Panorama today, our focus is on emergency management precautionary measures in case of disaster. Welcome to Lagos Network Center, the center of excellence. I am Hinginu John Adams. Thanks for being there. Nigeria has pledged continued support to troubled North African nation of Libya in its quest to regaining and sustaining peace and stability. President Muhammadu Buhari made the pledge while granting audience to the head of Libya's government of national accord, Fayez al-Sarraj, on the margins of the AU summit in Niamey, Niger Republic. State House correspondent Adam Sambo reports.
First formal interaction between President Muhammadu Buhari and the head of Libya's government of national accord. Their discussions centered on issues of common interest between Nigeria and Libya, especially recent developments in the North African country. Presently, there are over 6,000 Nigerians stranded in Libya after unsuccessful attempts to make it to Europe. President Buhari attributed the humanitarian crisis to terrorism and insurgency, as well as the drying up of Lake Chad, which affected the livelihoods of over 30 million people depending on the lake for farming, fishing, and animal husbandry. Nigeria, he said, will do its very best in supporting efforts at stabilizing Libya. The head of Libya's government of national accord had told the president that there were a lot of deaths and injuries in his country, but his government is determined to put an end to the situation. Al-Sarraj declared that Libya contributed a lot to the establishment and survival of the African Union, and therefore it is now time for Africa to reciprocate. At a separate audience with the United Nations Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed, President Buhari stressed the role the international community needs to play in recharging the lake, as the financial cost is beyond the scope of the affected countries. The president decried the menace of terrorism in the Sahel countries, noting that the instability in Libya has been a negative force on the Sahel. On her part, the Deputy Secretary General told the president that the growing security challenges in Africa are adversely affecting growth and undermining the attainment of sustainable development goals. The Deputy Secretary General congratulated President Buhari for signing the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement at the AU summit, saying the entire world was waiting for Nigeria. Issues relating to the drying up of Lake Chad also dominated discussions when President Buhari played host to the president of the African Development Bank, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina.
We have to make sure that we create livelihoods all across the Lake Chad Basin area. We have to revive the livelihoods. We have to make sure that we reduce the shocks that people are having and that we have more resilient communities in those areas. And you know, I am fully committed to that, because you cannot integrate fragile societies. You can only integrate resilient societies and their communities.
President Buhari also engaged the Vice President of the Islamic Development Bank, Nigeria's Mansur Mukhtar, during which he commended the bank for ongoing interventions in agriculture, trade and investment, rural development and food security in Nigeria, saying the country will appreciate more support in other critical sectors. From Niamey, Republic of Niger, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
The 12th extraordinary session of the African Union in Niamey, Niger Republic, has come and gone, but its memory will linger in the minds of participants. One of such remarkable moments in history was the signing of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement by President Muhammadu Buhari, thereby giving hope and impetus to the realization of one African market. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
Apart from unveiling the commemorative plaque, 5 operational instruments of the African Continental Free Trade Area were also launched to formally bring to an end the Niamey Summit of the African Union. Amongst the instruments were the Rules of Origin, African Trade Observatory Dashboard, and the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System, aimed at supporting the creation of the desired active and efficient market. However, the most striking feature of the summit was the signing of the AfCFTA agreement by Nigerian leader President Muhammadu Buhari. He told his counterpart at a closed session that the instrument of ratification will not only be deposited expeditiously, but the strong leadership required in the implementation of the agreement will also be provided by Nigeria. Some of the participants at the summit spoken to were unanimous that Nigeria had taken the right step at the right time.
For me, I couldn't be prouder as a Nigerian, so I just came to tell Mr. President that I'm so delighted with that.
Last year, Mr. President Buhari delayed the signing at Kigali so that he can, in deference to his democratic ideals, consult with the organized private sector, consult with manufacturers, processors, and all those who will be affected by the agreement. So we have gotten wiser, and the consultations no doubt have provided clues and avenues of what we are going to do in order to ensure that there will be responsible trading so that Nigeria can benefit as well as other countries in Africa.
And it is our sincere belief that prices of commodities may come down, and access to some of the commodities that we are lacking in the region, in Nigeria in particular, could be obtained, and some of the bureaucratic bottlenecks with respect to customs and others will also be reduced. But it is my sincere belief that the Borno will have some of the free trade zone in our own place, and then this will now improve the means of livelihood of the displaced communities in Borno State. The trade volume within the state will also increase.
The market is there, the opportunities are here, and with the level of entrepreneurship in Nigeria, I believe we'll take advantage of that. Already we are developing an economic zone consisting of over 800 hectares, and this year we are going to start on 100 hectares along the Libya border coming into Nigeria and other West African countries. For us, we will take advantage of whatever is there to make sure that Nigeria and Katana in particular has taken its share of the fallout of the agreement.
Expectations are that if genuinely implemented, the AfCFTA will not only unleash innovation, drive growth, and transform African economies, but also contribute to a prosperous, stable, and peaceful continent, otherwise referred to as the Africa we want. From Niamey, the Republic of Niger, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Mustafa Suleiman, has asked all Nigerian missions abroad, particularly those in Africa, to step up their economic diplomacy pursuit to enable Nigeria to derive maximum benefit from the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. He was speaking on the outcome of the just concluded African Union Summit in Niamey, Niger Republic. Correspondent Makut Simon Macham reports.
Nigeria's missions abroad present the platform through which the country engages the rest of the world at bilateral and multilateral levels. The goal is to project and protect its national interests. Now that President Muhammadu Buhari has finally put pen to paper endorsing the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, Nigerian missions in Africa and the rest of the world have a duty to ensure that the nation's economic diplomacy is accelerated. Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Mustafa Suleiman, wants them to be more proactive.
I think the President's concern are well articulated in our submission to the African Continental Free Trade Area. Don't forget that there are still negotiations going on. You know, this thing is supposed to come on stream by July 2020, which means that there is still time to negotiate and see all the checks and balances that are restored in the Continental Free Trade Area.
On On Nigeria's relations with Nigeria Republic, the Permanent Secretary says it is cordial and excellent, asking all Nigerians living in the country to be law-abiding and avoid tarnishing Nigeria's image.
Our message all the time is for Nigerians, wherever they are, to continue to be good representatives of Nigeria.
Those of them who are resident here, they don't give us any trouble. However, there are also a few who do not understand the need for documentation.
In Niamey, Nigeria Republic, Makut Simon Macham, NT News.
Renowned journalist and former governor of Ogun State, Chief Olusegun Osoba, has put his thoughts and experiences in journalism into a book form. Imole Al-Tokede reports that the Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo, led an array of dignitaries to celebrate the octogenarian journalist politician.
Chief Olusegun Osoba, one of the 3 pioneer employees of Daily Times in 1964, who rose to become the managing director, has a lot to say in the 341-page book titled Battle Lines: Adventure in Journalism and Politics. Born in July 15, 1939, Chief Olusegun Osoba became the governor of Ogun State in 1999. The Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo, who commended the brilliance and commitment Chief Osoba brought to bear in his journalism career, urged Nigerians to form alliance against any evil that seeks to destroy Nigeria's unity and the people's way of life.
Every evil that confronts our nation and our people can be defeated by the power of unity, the recognition that we are stronger together than apart. Chief Osoba's life and times has contained a list of battle lines.
We want Nigerians to believe in their country, believe in themselves, and work with elected and appointed officials of the state to make a qualitative improvement in the quality of life.
Senate President, serving in former governors, traditional rulers, politicians and captains of industry were not left out as a showered encomium on Chief Osoba, who is also celebrating 80.
His main concern was one of the main contributors of our Constitution.
The celebrant, Chief Olusegun Osoba, going down memory lane, recalled the 2 assassination attempts on his life during his days as a journalist and urged citizens not to distort history.
We rearranged our relationship, but I believe that the God that has been too kind to Nigeria, we should have gone into pieces before now, will still be with us.
Old friends of the birthday boy from Methodist High School were not left out as they recalled their school hymn and anthem to the admiration of all. In Lagos, Imole Al-Tokede, NTA News.
The inferno of Thursday, July 4, 2019 at Ijegun, a predominantly civil service, trading and business community in Lagos, is still a surprise to residents. Paul Omokago, who has been monitoring the developments, reports that the residents want the federal government to provide adequate protection for national assets in the area, as well as engage the indigenes on post-trauma management and sensitization.
Ijegun community is 17 kilometers from Lagos, and its geographical location is in the suburban area of Alimosho Local Government Council in Lagos West Senatorial District. Thursday's fire is the second, and days after the inferno that engulfed 31 vehicles, electricity poles, over 20 shops, residential buildings, and part of the community primary school. Residents are still in shock.
I told them that it wasn't my shop, that my shop was not near to the pipeline. So, but I kept hearing calls, receiving calls from people. I decided to come over to see what has happened.
Coincidentally, the first fire experienced in the area was also on a Thursday. But on the 15th of May 2008, after an earth mover during the construction of Ijegun Isolo Road erroneously struck and ignited an NNPC pipeline.
When good thing happened on Thursday, everybody will take it. But this Thursday, this kind of Thursday, I don't know what to call it. It's the type of Thursday we don't want.
Because of what happened then, people started calling this place Fire Junction. Normally, it's not Fire Junction. And even till today, I don't used to call it Fire Junction.
The recent fire was traced to the canal area of the community, a distance of about 500 meters from the NNPC pipeline right-of-way, where vandals siphoned fuel. Eyewitnesses say it was the spilled fuel from the vandalized pipeline that flowed through the gutters to the canal that caused the fire.
We are trying to stop all the vehicles coming from here to stop this because of the petrol. But we don't know that somebody is coming from this, what do you call this area? Our Lumate area, we don't know. We don't know. We are just thinking that we are going to stop this place again. But immediately something happened, I told my son, hey, some motor is here.
Immediately the fire exploded here. The fire located the other fuels that were on the road. So immediately I and my family crossed with some people. It didn't take a few minutes. The other tanker at Fire Junction exploded. And when it exploded, the fire was chasing me and the other people that were running, me and my family. Like, if you stop, the fire will cover you. So we just had to run. We were losing strength, but we just had to run.
Concerned by the incident, inhabitants are suggesting a number of stringent measures to forestall reoccurrence.
There must be a measure within which you keep people far off.
The activities of people we have here, if it's not conducive enough with what we have under the ground here, let them see how they can, minimize it.
Though many people in the area are yet to get over the shock, quite a few are already carrying out skeletal repair works on their burnt shops. In Lagos, Paul Mukago, NTA News.
Joining me to speak more on the Ikorodu Fire is a man who was actively involved in management of that disaster. He is the Director of Operations, Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, Engineer Olatunde Akinsoya. You're welcome to Panorama.
Thank you very much.
How will you describe what happened at Ikorodu on the 4th of July this year?
Thank you very much. What really happened is something that we don't really pray for. It's an unexpected incident. It's quite regrettable. It's quite unexpected, I would say. It's something that we are not really praying for because we had such experience about 11 years ago. That is exactly what is quite regretting. It's quite unfortunate incident that happens.
So how can we prevent future occurrences?
Thank you very much. Now it's about the second time we're having this kind of a thing happening in a particular areas. I think we need to step up public education and advocacy. I mean, trying to bring down sensitization about emergency to the grassroots, and this will really help us so that people will know what to do in case of emergency, because the emergency sometimes you can't stop it. You can't stop it from happening. It's such inevitable sometimes.
Okay, apart from sensitization, we know another important thing is equipment. Do you think that Nigeria has the adequate equipment to fight such?
Yeah, presently we are adequately equipped to fight the fire incident, extreme fire accident. This incident, as it happens, some have thought it's going to take 2-3 days, but it took the effort of all the stakeholders, led by the Director General LASEMA, Dr. Osoba Luadamilari Oke, coordinating all the stakeholders, and just on that day they were able to localize the fire and then stop it from moving forward.
Okay, let me take you back to the issue of sensitization.
Yeah.
You find out that whenever there is a disaster, people try to run to the scene of the disaster to take pictures, to record the event. What do you have to say? What should people do in the case of any disaster? The first thing to do.
Thank you very much. The first thing to do is to take a flight out of that place. You can hear what the woman said. She said they were running and they were losing breath. At the end of the day, they kept their lives. An attempt to want to watch what is happening puts you in a serious danger. The first thing is to take a step flight away from the incident scene, make a call to emergency toll-free line 112767. Government has provided this toll-free line. In case emergency happens anywhere in Lagos, we're able to reach you as soon as possible.
Talking about the emergency toll-free lines,
yeah.
Do you think a lot of people are aware of those numbers? Because I think there need to be sensitization about those numbers.
Thank you very much. The toll-free line has been on quite a long time, and every time we do sensitization and public enlightenment is one of the things that we hammer on to people from every stations, from everywhere we go.
So what's your counsel to the people?
Thank you very much. My advice to people is that let's be each other's keepers. I have always believed that the people are the major stakeholders when it comes to fighting emergency and disaster. The community people are the key leaders. They should not forget their toll-free lines. And then again, all the stakeholders that are involved in fighting emergency and disaster, we keep collaborating and having synergy together.
All right, Engineer Olatunde Akinsoya,
thank you.
Thanks for coming on Panorama. We now pause for a break. NTA News Panorama continues shortly. Thanks for being there. Magistrates in the country are to undergo a continuous evaluation of their conduct and performance to sustain the ethical standards that the judiciary is known for. The acting Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Tanko Mohammed, emphasized this during an orientation program for newly appointed magistrates in the country. Olabode Arewa has details.
Gathered in this all are magistrates recently appointed to take charge of magistrate courts across the country. This training program exposes them to current practices in justice delivery.
I expect to be a better magistrate by the time I'm done with the training.
What the acting CJN has discussed with us, it should shun corruption.
Drawing from his wealth of experience, the acting Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Tanko Mohammed, advised the new magistrates to avoid pitfalls which could be obstacles to their ability to deliver substantial justice.
To perform your judicial duties skillfully and expeditiously, without bias or prejudice, and must always remember that justice delayed is justice denied.
Your courts are essentially the taproots of the modern-day judiciary. All these are geared towards inculcating the highest ethical standards as well as upholding judicial excellence at the magistrate courts.
The 3 days training program with the theme Promoting Excellence in the Magistrate Courts focuses on issues such as granting of bail, pre-trial detention, and writing of judgments.
In Abuja, Olabode Arewa, NTA News.